Okay, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Painting with Jimmy. Today we're going to be tackling this one here, which I did a few weeks ago. It's just a simple background with some clouds. But I was thinking at the time it could do with a nice dragon on the top of it. So that's what we're going to do today. But before I get to the painting, I'm just going to show you how I arrived at the composition I'm going to be doing. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit. So, in the very beginning, I decided to just do some very quick sketches. So I did about 9-10 minute sketches of various things. I knew I wanted some castles somewhere in the composition. So I just made some of them up, and others I took some reference photographs and did my own versions of them. Then I wanted to try and do a dragon, and this I just based loosely on a bat. As you can see, it took various forms. Then I just set about doing this quick sketch as a possible composition for the entire painting. So the main thing really was the placement of the dragon itself, which is the only thing I really retained. The foreground, as you will see, I altered quite drastically. But anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, so here we are. This is the drawing I've transferred to the canvas. So I just read the last image you saw, I just redrew it in slightly more detail and then used carbon paper to transfer it to the canvas. I don't know how faithfully I'm going to follow that, but we'll see. And then down here I've just put a very simplified castle and some mountains that I just drew onto the canvas freehand. Yeah, I quite liked the composition I did on that other drawing. It looked a bit more interesting, but in the end I had trouble with the turrets getting in the way of the dragon, so I thought, bugger it, let's just do this. So, right, let's get on with it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just watering down some paint, or thinning it out a bit with some linseed oil. I'm going to do a kind of a glaze for the wings because I want them to be kind of semi-transparent. So let's just get on with that straight away. That's far too much, but anyway, if we work it in, that might be okay. It's a little bit thick, but a glaze is really just a very thin layer of paint, so the more we work it in, the more it will hopefully behave. If not, we can always blot it off with a dry brush. So let's just not mess around too much. Let's just scrub that in. Yeah, so the drawing's pretty clean, isn't it? So I might rough it up a bit in the painting, just because I don't want it to be too clinical. I mean, this is going to be a fairly whimsical painting, isn't it? It's cartoonish representation of a dragon. Never painted a dragon before, actually. I know, strictly speaking, this doesn't really look like a dragon, I know, but this is my version of it. Okay, at that point there, where I'm painting, we'll be able to see the body through that, so I'm going to have to paint that over that. Am I using the best brush for this? Probably not. I'm not very good at selecting brushes quite often. And this wing goes right down here. Yeah, so we'll just get the paint down and then we can always scrub it back off. Yeah, sorry, I haven't been around for a while because my wrist problem flared up. It's still not brilliant now, but it's as good as it's going to be for a while. Yeah, and I think I know what's wrong now. Well, this is a self-diagnosis, but so I had an operation to bolt the bone together 10 years ago. And it wasn't entirely successful, but I don't think the pain I'm getting is to do with that. Because after the operation, I was diagnosed with a bone disease, which means that scar tissue or bone tissue grows where it shouldn't be. In a way, it's like arthritis, but it's not. And so what happened is I started getting bone growing in between my joints in my fingers, which occasionally flares up and it hurts my fingers specifically. But I think what's happened is that bone's grown inside the wrist bones as well, and that's what's causing me discomfort, or a lot of pain when I move it in certain places. Sorry, I can't recall the name of the disease at present, but it was in the news recently. I read an article saying that there's a possible cure for it using a type of arthritis medication. So that's promising. I might have to look into that. But they're only trialling it at the moment, so I don't know how successful it is and whether I'd be able to get onto that trial. But the worrying thing is, for me, is that I told the specialist at the hospital the last time I had an X-ray and various scans on the wrist to determine what was going on, and I said it was a last-ditch thing. He didn't know what was causing the pain. And he said, well, the best we can do is we'll just fuse the wrist. It just means you won't be able to move it very much. And I said, well, that's not going to be ideal, as I enjoy a spot of painting, doctor. So other than that, he was at a loss as to what was causing it. But I told him at that point, I said, look, when I was up in Bath, when this was first diagnosed, I thought I hadn't started recording then, they told me I had this bone disease where my hand's growing bone where it shouldn't be. And he said, well, I've never heard of that. And that was the end of that. And I thought, what? But yeah, look, when this news article came up, it reminded me. And sure enough, that was the one they said I had. So I don't know what the hell that doctor's playing at. Maybe it was just misleading that I said about bone growing where it shouldn't be. I mean, that's what it is in effect. I mean, they call it scar tissue, but with bone. So anyway, I mean, if I could look into that, because the end scenario with that particular ailment is that eventually your hand just pulls itself into a claw, and there's not much else you can do with it. So that's something to look forward to. But to be honest, the restriction of movement, it doesn't bother me. It's the pain. It's just debilitating. So at the beginning of this video, you would have seen those sketches I did, those 10-minute sketches. And it caused a hell of a lot of pain just doing those drawings. See, painting's not as bad. It doesn't hurt as much, but drawing, even with charcoal, it's not pleasant. So I was kind of despairing a bit whilst I was drawing those towers and trying to come up with a dragon design. But there we are. And it's really hard when you're trying to concentrate on a drawing to have pain in the back of your mind at the same time. Anyway, let's stop talking about doom and gloom. We're painting. And painting is a relaxing process. So just forget about it, old man. Right, there we go. It's a bit rough, isn't it? But I don't know if that's... Yeah, it's nothing special. But what I'll do is I'll get a dry brush now and just take some of that paint off again. I just want the suggestion of like a thin membrane of the wing, and take some of those rougher brush strokes out. I mean, I don't want it completely clean. I mean, this dragon's been through the mill, I imagine. It's not your standard dragon, is it? But I pulled up images of dragons to kind of do a version of my own, but I'm just so bored of the way dragons look. I mean, so I thought I'll just do my own thing. So I've put like a kind of it's almost like a Venus flytrap head on it. Anyway, that's just my own prejudice against dragon styles, contemporary dragon styles. I mean, everyone knows what a dragon looks like. I just get bored of them. There we are. Yeah, I don't know if this has been entirely successful, this glaze effect, because you can't really see it very well. I was hoping more of the sky would show through. Anyway, that'll do. We're not aiming for a masterpiece here. Just something barely serviceable. Okie dokie. That'll do. I'll tell you what, I'll do a bit more and I'll cut this out because this is boring. Okay, so the body I'm going to do very dark. This is a dark brown with what is it, alizarin crimson and a little bit of phthalo blue to darken it. But I'm just going to really roughly scrub this in as a base colour. And obviously we're going to see a bit of that body through that wing, so I might have to do that later. This brush is a little bit too big for what I'm doing here. Give a little bit of linseed oil in there to make it move a bit better. Anyway, let's change my brush. Let's go for the smaller one. I've got no reference. I'm not using any reference now that the drawing's on here. I've got the drawing on the wall that I did, but that I can look at. But as in terms of colour, I'm just winging it. But on top of this dark colour, we'll be able to add lighter highlights, which I will do at some point. Yeah, the paint's not going on brilliantly. It's the trouble, I get these canvases that have quite a pronounced tooth. So the canvases are quite a heavy canvas, which makes it harder to get into the divots. That'll do. We'll be going over this again. Right, let's get his little feet in. So the other thing in the drawing I showed at the beginning, he didn't have any feet, so I thought I'd add these kind of talons. I'm not going to mess around too much with that. I think I might have thinned him down a bit, his body. It's a particularly hungry dragon, this one. He hasn't eaten for a while. Right, let's get the arms in dark. Okay. The usual problem with this camera setup is the colours you're seeing aren't really very close to the ones I can see, but it's near enough. Got his spines there. I'll go over them a bit. Yeah, it's a bit of a devilish dragon, this one. Not particularly friendly. Again, I'm doing my usual trick of painting over an already painted background, which presents problems because the tonal values are all different. So the clouds are obviously quite light, so whatever colour you're putting over the top, if there's a bit of transparency to it, which this paint does have, it alters the colour a bit. But we won't worry too much. There we go. So it's not painting by numbers, but I am just blocking in the drawing really. So, but I will be doing other stuff in other layers at some point. I've got to remember where these, because I'm obliterating the drawing now, so I need to remember where things are. Let's get that in a little bit cleaner. Okie doke. I get my smaller brush out now. Let's get a bit of this in, get his face in. Mean devil. I've changed my camera setup again, you've probably noticed. I keep messing around with it. I don't know where. The problem is with having it, I had it above the canvas, the easel, but it was very wobbly, for one. And the other problem was it was distorting the shape of the canvas. I mean, this isn't much better. It's from the side, but that's as good as I can get at the moment. Okay, being fairly rough at this stage, so don't have to worry too much. Okay, there we are, there's the dragon. Got the spines to block in, so I might just do that now. I'm going to really darken the brown down with some blue. So, well, this might appear a bit blue, but it won't matter. Let's get some of these in. Might exaggerate these a bit. Just blocking them in just so I know where they are really. You'll be able to see these spines through the wing as well. I like making things more difficult, you know. Anyway, rough as you like. just suggesting them really. They taper out a bit. That'll do, that'll do. Right, I'm going to take this darker colour I've made and just go over the wings a bit. So the wings have these little tendrils that come out. I've already lost that in the painting, but I'll put them back in where I think they are. That's bloody awful. No, that'll do, that'll do. It's not the best brush for that actually. Let's get my, I've got a pointed round that I'll use. Got another one that comes out here. There you are. See, what I tend to do is I rotate the canvas all the time, but it's going to be a bit disorientating if I do that. So, for you watching, so I'm going to persevere. Okay. It's fairly awful, isn't it? Tell you what, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm just going to come in here. Just darken the underside of the wing. Like that. Okay. My goodness, this looks awful. Okay, I'm going to break my rule now. I'm going to move the damn thing because I'm having trouble painting it. So upside down for a bit. Let's get these edges in a bit just to find them. So I based these wings, I might have said earlier, I don't know, but I based it on bat's wings because dragons have quite distinctive wing shapes. To me they quite closely resemble bats, so I'd base it on a bat. I find this very hard. I need to get one of those, they're called mole sticks, where you can rest your hand without touching the painting. That would be nice. That'll do. Let's get this other dry brush. Just blend this in a little bit. How to make a mess. See, I have these wonderful ideas and then in practice they don't always work. God, it's a mess. These need to be a bit thicker, looking at the other side. Lovely. Yeah, I'm completely winging this, as you can see, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so just be prepared for it to go wrong. I've already put my bloody finger in the paint and it's gone on the canvas, as you can see. Off you go. And let's continue this outline. Probably doesn't need an outline really, but I thought I would add it. I'm going to turn it again, excuse me. Okay. Again, just try and blend this out a little bit. It's all running. Silly boy, silly boy. Come on, Johnny boy. This is a rubbish brush. Let's use one of my... This will probably suck the paint right off. Should have used this before actually. Takes more of the paint off. Oh, this is a nightmare. What a devil, what a devil. Anyway, let's just not mess around too much. But this brush is nice for getting some of that paint off. So. It's a makeup brush. Okay. I don't know if I should do these videos because I'm always so negative, aren't I? Oh well. Right. Right, I'm going to, whilst I've still got this dark colour, I'm just going to darken some of this face down a bit. So, this distended mouth section. And its copious belly. May have used too much of the old linseed oil here. What a brute. Anyway, let's just slap it on. So it's trying to work out where the light's coming from. I have no idea. It's all over the place, isn't it? Let's get some dark behind here. That's in shadow. Maybe most of that tail's in shadow. See all these marks that are being left by the paint. It's a bit too thin, really. Lovely. It's devilish teeth. Let's just get them in dark with this dark colour. What I tend to do is do a painting all in one go, so wet on wet the whole way, but we'll see how we go with this one. We may have to wait for certain parts to dry because it's behaving a bit naughty today. It's largely my fault for using the linseed oil, but it's also the surface that's been left from the previous painting. It's a little bit shiny. Anyway. That's not too bad. Right, okay, let's carry on. Let's just see what happens. Now I'm going to add some highlights. So I'm going to make this a far more opaque colour. Red, and to make it opaque we add some, I'm going to put some yellow ochre in and some white. So I know back at the last videos I had my palette showing, so you could see me mixing the colours. Unfortunately, yesterday that piece of glass I had it on my seat, and I went and sat on the bastard, and this gunshot sound went off, and glass went everywhere, and I spent the next hour cleaning it up. That was good fun. Okay, so I'm not sure if this colour's the right value. What we'll do is we'll just put a little blob on and see what it looks like. Whoa! That's going to make it pop. Right, let's do that. So I'm using a fill bit here. I'm not sure if this will be the right brush. But the thing I like about wet on wet is that the colours beneath mix and you get all different tones that you didn't previously plan. It's a bit pinky, isn't it? But I think I like it. Right, so let's bring that around. Lovely. Okay. Let's get it coming down here. To the body itself. Look at this brutish beast. Horrid looking thing, isn't it? Okay. Some over here. Ah, you devil. Okay, we'll use that wobbly line. Happy accident, as Bob would say. Not always happy with accidents, but sometimes they're okay. Let's get a bit on here. So this is in shadow, but we'll get a bit here, I suppose. Carry it down. I just muddle through these paintings quite often. I don't really plan much, as you can tell. Let's clean that off a bit. Okie dokie. Right, I'm going to have to move the canvas again. Apologies. Let's just try and blend this out a bit. And you might ask, why did I put all that dark down first? But it informs the colour I'm putting over it now, so it tones it down, but also colour works better on top of other colour, so lighter colours on top of dark. It's a beastly thing, isn't it? Okay. We can put some more. I'll put a final highlight on top of this, and then it should zing a bit more. It's going darker as it goes behind the shoulder, whatever passes for a shoulder in Dragonland. This part of the wing is behind here. Just put it in there. I think I've altered the drawing a bit now, but fuck it. Right, up we go. Let's go around again. Okay, that's a very rough looking thing. In fact, it looks better on the screen than it does the way I'm looking at it. It looks bloody awful, but we can remedy that. Can we? Maybe. Right, now I'm going to try and apply some detail. Got this dark colour that I'm going to get these legs in. I'm going to give him great big talons, I think. Evil looking thing. Even now the paint's not going on nicely. Let's give him a little claw there as well. Okay. And same on the other way, see, side. You want to see this swooping down on you, would you? No, sir. Okay. Turn him again. See, I don't know if I can do these paintings for you this way, because I do have to keep moving the damn thing. I don't know if you like that. Let me know. I've given him some like joints now. What an awful, horrible looking thing. Right, let's do this head. This underside of the jaw is going to be very dark. But I can use the colour that's already underneath to show through, to give it a bit of variation, so it's not just a solid block of colour. So we've got this bit of the mouth here. And the top of the jaw is there. This pseudo, I don't know what kind of anatomy this thing has, I've just made it up. Pretty basic stuff. Of course, what you can do once it's dried, if it doesn't look the way you intended, you can just add another layer on top again. I quite often do that because you can miss things. Okay. It's far too dark, isn't it? The camera. I might be able to lighten it when I edit it, hopefully. Anyway, right, let's come in here. So that's the belly. Comes up to there. Do dragons have genitalia? Now this is a question. I'm going to say no because I don't want to put any on this. Okay, that's fine. That's all dark under there. Now, how much of this tail will be in light? I'll tell you what, let's let most of it be in light, but let's get a bit under there. Okay. Good, that'll do, that'll do. Let's get a bit more detail in this. Jaw. So I may put a highlight on the underside of this jaw, I don't know, but for now I'll just block it in black. I don't use black, so this is a combination of phthalo blue, burnt umber and red. Whatever red, alizarin crimson, and a bit of cadmium red I've used. Just so the alizarin crimson is what I used in the background, so I wanted it to pick that up a little bit. What a devilish beast this is. Devilish. Right, so I'm just going to turn around again. So this wing here is behind this one, so I'm going to put some shadow in behind here. There's also going to be spines on top of that. Well, that's what the drawing I had, so they'll go over the top of that, I think. Okay. And the top of his head is quite odd, isn't it? I'm going to make it so that there's a kind of a divot here. That's where the head protrudes from. Okay. Got some polystyrene underneath to hold the painting in place. Seems to grip it quite nicely, but it has a tendency to squeak. Car sounded a bit laboured. Very much like my own. Perhaps someone's stolen it. That would do me a favour, actually. Somebody steal my car, please? No, only joking. Okay, it's looking rough as rats, but doesn't matter. So, right. Does this thing have scales? I don't know. I'm just going to do blotches for now. Let's give it some texture. Probably can't see that. Okay, so before I said about you'd see the body through the transparent wing. Can I be bothered to do that? Yes, I can. Let's do it. I'll just do a very... So it would come through there. Sorry, I'm going to have to move it again. Look after your wrists, everyone. Don't do anything silly and destroy them like I did. They can't grow you new ones yet. Okay, and we'd see some spines, wouldn't we? So let's get a spine in there. I don't know how effective that's going to be. But anyway. As it turns out, not very effective at all. Let's darken it a bit. Sorry, I intended these painting videos to be quite relaxing, and yet I'm so negative, aren't I? Apologies. Okay, hopefully that looks okay-ish. Okay. Just darkening the underside of the tail just to give it slightly more three-dimensionality. However, all it's seeming to do is show up the clouds underneath. Okay, don't worry, don't worry. Right. Just going to put the spines in. Very dark. I have trouble here. It's okay. Yeah, the paint beneath is so slippery that the dark isn't really attaching to it. I'm having to put it on quite thickly. But that'll do. That'll do. Okay. Lovely. And the same for here. Let's get these spines in darker. Slightly more pronounced. Once these are in, I can put some highlight on the spine of the beast. but it's best to do it after I've put the spines in, ideally. I might even put some highlights on the spines. We'll see. I need to darken these ones up on the wing as well. I mean, the beauty of painting is that nothing's set in stone. You can always make changes. It's a bit of a nightmare at times trying to change things, especially with oil, but it can be done. I can certainly see the appeal of digital art because it's not as messy. But I missed the boat for digital art and I've never really got into it. However, it might be better for my wrist, mightn't it? So that may be a future deviation if things go wrong. Ah, you bastard. Oh, I've put my finger on the... hence, painting is dirty. It's filthy, actually. Right, let's turn it. Let's make it a bit easier for myself. Nice bird sounds outside. I don't know if you can... The microphone's picking that up. Right. Let's just go back over that bit of wing. Good. And to get rid of that blotch, we just use a bit of tissue paper, bit of odorless thinner, tiny bit. This stuff's very toxic. I tend not to use it much. And then the devil rubs off. Don't do it too much though, because it'll take that layer off and you'll be left with a great big hole, which I've done before. Okay, right. Now let's mix up an even lighter red, or it's kind of verging on pink now, but this is what we'll use for our highlights. Maybe enough. Wipe off this brush. Right. I want to highlight down here. Something like that. The very tip of its tail. So yeah, it kind of gives three-dimensionality. Is that a word? I don't think so. Something like that. We can pick out some detail then on the top of the wings and the head. Let's go for the head first. Just a kind of sheen almost. What a brute. What a brute. Can also do a bit in here. Just a little bit. And in the areas where I assume this beast has gums, just put a little bit in there. Yeah, that's not showing up on the camera, but take my word for it, it's there. And get a bit of gum in there. A little bit. A little bit more highlight there. Just a little suggestion of something underneath here. Ugh, what a horrible thing. I've created a monster. Okay. Now I need it on the top of the wing. I have to flip it as ever. So for this I just want one point of where it's kind of shining. There you go. That'll do. And the same on the other wing. Now, what's the best way of doing that? Let's do it as is. I want this edge to really pop. That'll be easier. That'll do nicely, sir. Okay. Right, now it's where we've got the highlight here. Let's get a bit of texture or kind of blur the edge here. And same here, let's blend. Have to clean the brush a bit. Just blend on this side with slightly darker colour. I'm trying to blend it, but it's going down to the layer, the bottom layer, which is not ideal. No, it's not liking it. That'll do. Right. Gonna put a bit of a bling on the side of the spines. For that, I'm just going to use white. Maybe a tiny bit of red. Well, it'll be a very light pink, I suppose. Tell you what, let's make it a grey. Actually, it's gone purple. That'll do. Okay. I don't know how good that is, really. Some very long spines. Okay, just a few more and then I'll let the under paint darken it naturally. Okay, that'll do. Okay, might take some more of that and just very lighten the pink that I used for the highlights on the body and lighten it even further. Then we can do very, very sharp highlights. So like the lights glinting kind of effect. Where else do you want a glint, fella? A little bit here, obviously. A little bit more on these spines, I think. Just going to turn it. Just going to turn it, Mr. Turnip Head. Just a little bit of sparkle. Yes, okay. Right, these teeth. At the moment they're black horrid stumps. Let's make them a bit whiter. For that I am going to make a kind of a grey. So white, red, bit of blue. That's far too much blue. Got to be careful with the old phthalo blue. It's an absolute beast of a colour. A bit of red in there. A little bit of yellow. And we've got purple. Haha. Bit of brown, 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 brown. Okay, that's a grey, but let's whiten it right down. Let's get his nashes in. Okay, so I'll tell you what. I want to get these. I'll get them nice and dark first. What an horrid brute he is. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then we'll highlight the devils. Yes, yes. Okay, a bit of light on that tail. Okay, so the last thing I'll do with the dragon is I'm going to just put some highlights on his legs. So does that work? Don't know. Pick out his dragon fingers. If that works a little bit, maybe. That'll do, that'll do. Okay, so right, so I've got to go to work now, but I'll come back later and I'll do the background, which is just a very simple castle and some mountains. Okay, it's gone okay. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, but there we are. These things are meant to try us. I'll be back in a bit, 3 hours. Okay, let's get this finished. Right. Let's get on to these mountains. Right, these are going to be nice purple mountains. So let's just just going to block in this purple. I've already pre-mixed this. Some of this may be slightly off the camera, but I'm going to do this pretty quickly, I think. Yes, I've been to work, I've had my tea, and I'm raring to go. Unfortunately, I've just found out we've got another parking ticket. You would not believe it, but that's the way it is, unfortunately. It's a very unfair one this time, but they're always unfair, aren't they? But there we are. So anyway, let's get on with this. So these mountains I just penciled in yesterday, just really quickly. No fuss, no reference either. I'm just going to wing it. It's just a little bit of detail really to the painting. It's not really the main star of the show, so to speak, is the dragon. So I'm going to let that speak for itself. But you've got to have some mountains in a fantasy landscape. So here they are. So yeah, just I could do with a bigger brush really. So I have this one. Yeah, so just scrubbing in some of this purple, dark purple. There's still some colour. What the fuck? Oh my god. Huh. Who the hell is this? Yeah, so basically just had some random bastard trying to call me on Skype. And as I've only know one person on Skype, there's a fairly good chance that was a cretin. Anyway, right. There's another mountain peak there. Anyway, just roughly blocking in this colour, this darker one. I always work from dark to light usually. Okay. That styrofoam makes a horrible sound when you brush it. There's a fact for you. Alright, let's get a bit of this in between these towers and whatnot. I don't know if I'm going to make that sit on some rock, that castle. Otherwise, work was fine. Apart from that bloody ticket. I tell you, that's my 5th ticket this year. Yeah, so basically, after the last 2 tickets, I made sure I parked on a street where I knew that every single bay is for my permit. And unbeknownst to me, there's a bloody tiny little sign saying that one particular bay was now illegal to park in. No cones or anything, just a tiny little sign. Very next day, what do I get? Ticket. Anyway, I'm not bitter. Right, so we've got that deep purple on there. Next I've got a pre-mixed another lighter purple. Both of these purples I've used just mixed phthalo blue with the alizarin crimson. So now I have to determine where the light's coming from. So on the dragon, the light's coming from the top right. So let's do the same for the mountains. So where are you going, you devil? Right, so I'm just going to do a random light source on there. These are distant peaks, they can have a bit of light there. Just nothing special here. I'm not going to worry myself silly over these mountains. It's a bit of Just ensuring there's more light on that side. Same here. Can't see these peaks here, but I'm going to put the light on there. Lovely. Nothing to write home about. Lovely. Okay. And last but not least, we'll just put some snow on. How about that? So for that, I'm just going to dunk some titanium white into that kind of violet that I've been using for the highlights. And I'm just going to paint it on really. So let's have a look at this distant peak. Just put a bit on there. Yeah, I'm not that bothered about these mountains and how good they look. It's more important to me that the dragon's doing its thing. It doesn't help that I could do with this being tilted on its side. Yeah. That'll do. Let's do the peaks you can't see. Gonna have snow on these peaks. It's the popo. They're out to get me. Okay, lovely. Last bit of bit lighter snow here. Just get some more depth to these. Okay. I'm using the best brush for this. A little bit more here. That'll do. Sorry, I've just missed some distant peaks over here that you can't see, but yes. That'll do. Okay. Just tidy this up a bit. All right. Okay. Lovely. Right, let's clean this off. Just want to put a few little highlights on the shadow side. Yes. That'll do, Vicar. That'll do. Because even on the dark side of a mountain there is some highlights. Anyway, there we are. There we are. God, I get carried away with mountains. I want to get a bit more light on here. Lovely. Apologies again for the aspect of this camera view. I know it doesn't show the painting brilliantly, but here we are. That'll do, that'll do. Right. Righty-ho, and oh wait, there's a bit more up there. That's fine. That's fine and dandy. Sour candy. Right, let's get on with the castle itself. So, let's clean this one off. Right, so for the castle, it's going to work in the same kind of way. Light source is up to the right, isn't it? So our shadows need to be on the left side. Right, let's do it. I don't know if I've picked the right colour here, but this is the only crenellated tower. But same as usual, let's get in the darker tones first. So this colour I've mixed up it's on the brown side. Yeah, it's brown really. Yeah, let's just do it roughly. So this tower here, gonna have some shadow under there. I'll block it in anyway. Shadow under there. And then shadow down here. This is quite a crooked tower. I based this on the on Merlin's tower from the Disney films. Wonderful tower that one is. Yeah. So we got light coming from there. So this archway behind is more or less going to be in total shadow, but I'll just... This brush is no good. Yeah, most of that's going to be in shadow. But you might be able to see the top of it. Who knows? Who knows? In fact, a lot of this might be in shadow because of the tower that's in front of it. So let's block a bit more of that in. I didn't clean out this brush, so it's mixed a bit. We won't stop our horse and cart over that. Let's clean it a bit though, it's a bit annoying. Okay, same here. Underneath here, shadow down here as well. Maybe. Don't fully know yet. We'll let the light do what it likes later. Lovely. Again, no reference for this. I mean, ideally I would have planned where the light's going and all that, but I'm not too worried. Let's get old flat out. There we go. There we go. There's the main castle in quite dark tones. It's dark under here, and that's for damn sure. Let's get it a bit darker. Add some more blue and brown. Lovely. Got a little tower, we've got a little bridge thing here actually, I forgot about that. Let's pop all that in dark. Here we've got this buttress or whatever it is. Dark down there. Dark all underneath this conical roof and under there. And okay, lovely. Stop vaping, John. Come on. Should be painting, not vaping. It's a time and a place, and it ain't now. Okay, lovely. Last bit of dark here. Okay. Right, let's get some highlights on there now. So for that I've mixed a light kind of grey brown, more of a cream colour really. See how it goes on. Don't always know until it's on whether it's suitable. That'll do. So now we've got to work out the light. Where are you, light, my dear? I got some there. Across this buttress. Hell, let's put it down there as well. Yeah, I haven't worked this out. This may not look quite right. I don't know yet. Mix it in a bit. Yeah, you certainly aren't going to see much of this detail on the old camera, I'm afraid. Okay, this tower's getting the sun on its face there. I've also got this kind of bit underneath. And down here. Don't know if I've chosen the right colours for this really. I mean, what time of day is it? That's the thing. I don't know. I should have maybe used some light, some highlights of using that alizarin crimson, maybe. Maybe. It's all right. It's all right. Anyway, let's just get in here as well. God, I'm still thinking about that bloody parking ticket. Okay. Okay, there's that. Okay, now we can just titivate it a bit, just for the suggestion of some brickwork. Again, you're not going to be able to see this probably. But I'm just moving between the light and the dark, letting them mix a bit. So I get some lighter highlights in the dark areas and I get some kind of brick shapes in the light areas. Not too bad, it's kind of effective. I've got this another flying buttress here, or whatever the hell it is. Not sure about that. Okay, let's get a bit of brickage in here. Tiny bit of highlight there under the lip. Okay. That'll do, Vicar. Okay, we'll leave that for now. I'll go back over it a bit later, but for today's just showing you what I'm doing, that'll do for now. Last thing to do is to get these roofs on. So once again, we've got to use the same brush. I'm going to put a dark blue over first. Yeah, these are going to be blue towers. So Lovely. It's very dark. I'm using this fine tipped brush, shouldn't really be using that, but it was in my hand, so I used it. Okay. Again, you've got to think of where the light is with respect to this roof. Problem now is that the roof, that colour value is a lot darker than the actual castle, so I might have to tone that down. Absolutely love conical castle roofs. There you go, there's a fact for you from the mind of Jimmy. Okay, there we go. Lovely. Right, let's get some of that dark paint out of the brush. Just towel it dry. And then I've got a pre-mixed lighter one. It may not be light enough, I don't know. Let's have a look. It's alright. I'd say that's fine. So let's do the other half of that conical roof. Lovely. And blend it a tiny bit. Not too bad. Again, what I'm doing here, you probably won't see in any great detail. But yeah, we're just trying to give some three-dimensionality to this roof. Okay. See, one day I'll have a setup where there'll be areas zoomed in, perhaps. But for now, that is beyond my finances. But you get the idea. Hopefully. Oh, I picked up a bit of dark there. And finally this one. Lovely. There we go. Okay. Tell you what, I'm going to call that a day because that's as good as you'll be able to see it. What I'll do is I'll show you how it looks now after I've done this, and then I'll titivate it slightly more and show you the very finished one. But I'm not going to do that much more to it. I think it's done. Okay, I'll say goodbye and I'll talk over the last bit. Thanks for watching. Cheers. So this is the finished piece, straight off the easel. And the one I'm going to pop up now is one that I just spent another 5 minutes titivating slightly. It's very little difference. It's mostly just adding the windows and whatnot to the castle, and just darkening the shadows slightly. And that's about all. If there's any greater difference, it's more the skill of my photography, which isn't very good. So yeah. So anyway, what do you think? Is it all right? I don't know. I quite like it. It turned out better than I thought it might. I always begin these things with a fair amount of trepidation, but yeah, I think it turned out okay in the end. Anyway, thanks for watching if you've watched all of this, and I'll be back with another one soon.